every holiday season, I send him shit like I sent to him this year, Happy Thanksgiving Dick, just to see what he would say.
Did he answer you?
And this year he responded. And he always usually responds with something.
He's
And
been doing a lot of like humanitarian type posts, so
yeah,
maybe
well,
he's
he's
seeing
not.
Jesus.
He's not. Let me finish before you go jumping to those conclusions. So he says, you know, so I wish I had the exchange handy. I could read it to you. But it basically is like, you know, uh, I ask him questions along the lines of like, something, just why do you, because let me let me tell you the story first, and then we'll get to this. So somewheres around, when did we go to Great Wolf Lodge the second? The first time? It was the first time. It was the second time?
I think it was the second time.
When was that?
Oh, they were probably 7 and 5.
No.
2017.
Yeah, it was 17 going into 18, I believe. Or maybe it was 18 going into 19. I can't remember. But I had been like, so Greg GNYP, for those that don't know, which is probably a lot of you, but it's easy to find him. He is he is like the radio guy for my generation and the previous generation and the post, and the after the generation after me or two. Like 89X was the new rock alternative. It was the station that we listened to as teenagers. You listen to 89X first and foremost, and then you'd listen to 94.7 for your classic rock, and you'd listen to 97.9 and 107.5. Want to see you for Leonia for your rap stuff, and there are the stations, but 89X was like the cool station. And then they had their sister station, 93.9 The River. And both of these are Dell Media Group stations out of Canada. But because of where we are, we there's the affiliate, and they actually had the offices here in Detroit as well. So at some point I reached out to this guy and I'm like, hey, this is what we do. And this is long before TBG exists. And he likes what we do, I guess. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, but at one point he invites, it's his wife's birthday party, and he invites.
Well, that's what it was. I couldn't remember what we were
Right.
there for. Where I won that basket or whatever.
I didn't realize you won the basket.
The scrapbooking.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But he invited us to his wife's birthday party, and like, if you met the guy, you'd think he's gay. If you met her, you'd think she was gay. But we went, we had a good time. Everything was cool. And that was sort of that. And then somewhere, like I say, it's either going from 17 to 18 or from 18 to 19. But there's been periodic, Matt, what's up? There was periodic communication between, here and there. I mean, again, in all of these situations, understand that I completely get the totem pole. I know where I stand on the totem pole. I am the desperate loser trying to get something from you. I get that. And so my expectations are very low. And I'm, I get that there's more than likely going to be bullshit. And so I'm the one chasing the bone, right? I'm the dog chasing the bone. But at some point, he's responsive. And I don't even remember which song it was. But he said that he had listened to it 20 times in a row. He sat in the studio and just listened to it over and over again. And he hadn't had that happen to him in over 20 years. And this guy had been given CDs by everyone. Pearl Jam and Coldplay and Oasis. Like all of these bands over the years had given him CDs. He was one of this area's biggest radio personalities. So they all knew him and he got, promotional materials and shit from them. He made the point to tell me that he hadn't done that in like 20 years. He hadn't had something affect him the way that our song had affected him. And I was just like, fantastic. How do we make this work? And so we got into talking about he was thinking of leaving the radio position and he wanted to do something else, but he didn't know what he wanted to do. So I was like, well, why don't you just be our manager? Using your connections and all that. If you can recognize, if this affects you as much as it did, it's going to affect other people that much. And with all the controversy and everything that's going to come from it, you're going to be busy as hell. You could take on other clients. And he even said, no, I wouldn't need to take on other clients. I would just have you. And that's how this progressed. And this progressed for a couple of months. Over that time, him and his woman got a divorce. And then one of his friends died of brain cancer. And this was all during the Thanksgiving, Christmas holiday season. And so, because there was all these things happening, shit kept getting postponed. He'd be like, I definitely want to do this, but I'm going through something right now. And I was like, yeah, I get it, your friend, let's hold off. And a couple months would go by, whatever. So by and I'd been talking about this a lot on my feed, but I never gave his name. And I did that on purpose because I believe that my shit is watched. And I believe that people that show interest get the phone call. Now, I might be wrong. This story is more proof that I can't prove or disprove it. But it's definitely not the only one where somebody was all gung-ho. Hell yeah, this is great. I want to do something with this. I know some people, let me make some phone calls. We never hear from them again. And that's just not how that industry works. That industry doesn't blow smoke up asses. If it's not good enough, they'll say, no, this isn't something I'm interested in right now. Thanks for your efforts. People have no problem breaking hearts. It's literally what they do every day. So for them to not only entertain me, but pretend like I'm the best thing since, the bread slicing machine. They would never just do that for the fucking fuck of it, It's just not how that works. We had many other people be like, no, it's not something we're interested in. I know what rejection is. And so we're up at Great Wolf Lodge, and him and I are talking, and he's like, yeah, it had been a month or so or whatever, and he was like, yeah, I'm ready to get back to it. Let's meet up next week when you get home from Great Wolf Lodge, and let's get this shit started. And I was just thrilled. I was foolishly thrilled, right? And Ange asked me, whoa, what's up? What happened? Or what's going on? She asked something like that. And I was like, oh, I just talked to GNYP, and And as soon as I said it, I was like, oh, fuck. And like I always say, if I'm live, I can't hide who I am and what I think. So if somebody stumps me or somebody fucks with me, you'll see it in my presentation. And even with that, I couldn't just play it off. As soon as I realized I had said his name, I didn't just keep talking like I should have to act like, you know, it was no big deal. It struck me and I was like, I just talked to GNYP and, oh, fuck. And I never heard from him. And that was it. Like, I reached out a bunch of times. Like, what's going on, dude? Why aren't you responding? Why aren't you responding? And this was, again, years ago. This is maybe even, almost 10 years ago at this point. So like I say, every year I'll send him something and he'll respond. And then I'll be like, hey, you ever going to tell me what the fuck happened? And that'll be it. So this time, today, he responds and I'm like, it's crazy that you're so complacent with this genocide and shit like that. I can't believe it. And he's like, well, that's your opinion. And he's saying all these dumb things. Like he's going, oh, well, he says something about, well, it's one thing to be a keyboard warrior. And I said, anything is better than being silent. And I said, the truth is, out of the two of us, you have a huge platform. You are somebody. I'm a loser. I'm nobody. You're the one that has the ability to actually say the right thing and do the right thing, and you choose not to. Oh, well, that's your opinion, and so I finally, and I said some more, and I'm like, and after everything you did to me, like how can you sit on your high horse when you acted at the very least completely unprofessional? Like, why wouldn't you just say something? If there was a problem, then you say something. And he said, well, I had my reasons. And I said, what? What happened between you telling me that we'll meet up next week and that date that made you change your mind? And he said, well, I just didn't want to work with you. And I said, again, what happened? You did. Everything was going great. And then suddenly you didn't want to work with me? How does that make sense? And he's saying, his only response is like, well, I had my reasons, or, that's your opinion. And I'm going, dude, you're the one making this weird. Right? Like, again, this is like business. If this isn't the direction you want to go in at this time, or something's, whatever it is, you communicate that with people. You don't string people along and then, especially in my situation where you're the A side, I'm the B side, and you break my heart. You make me, like, you build me up to this point where I'm like, holy shit, I might be able to change the lives of my family. Thanks to my dad, though, I'm not real big on planning for shit until it happens. Getting excited about things is one thing, but at this point in our lives, we don't believe anything until the check is here. Because this has happened multiple times. Like seriously strange things that would happen where, somebody is gung-ho, this shit is great, I think we can do great things with this. Let me make some phone calls. I call the wife like, holy shit, this is happening. And reluctantly, she's like, cool. And then nothing happens. It just, it doesn't make sense. Like, the way that we're supposed to think, the lack of conspiracy theory, you're just supposed to think the way that you're told to think. My narrative doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. Yeah, I asked this guy, like, dude, you post pictures of dogs and shit. You like to pretend like you're this really great guy and shit, and you do these certain things, but at the end of the day, you're not. You were too much of a coward to just tell me what was wrong. And because you were too much of a coward to tell me, some nobody, what happened, what changed, do I think you're going to stand up against the hand that feeds you? You're going to stand up to the Israeli situation? Why would I expect that from you? I mean, again, and why wouldn't he just say it? Like, at this point, all these years later, why wouldn't he just say, he's like, I have my reasons. Why wouldn't you just tell me what those reasons are? Like, seriously, what, other than to make it weird or to hide something, why wouldn't he just say something?
Yeah, they're trying to take all hemp products off of shelves. And then they're gonna move to THC. They're trying to go backwards again.
Yeah. Did you not think that was going to happen? Like, there are all these little individual things for you to focus on. All these things that are going to affect you in like that or like this or whatever. And as long as you're spread out, you're spread super thin because you're focused on this, you're focused on that, you're focused on all these things that are real, that need to be addressed, that need to be dealt with. You're spread thin, you're weak. You're not as focused as you should be. And most of the time, all of the time, you're focused on a tentacle. If you can cut that tentacle off, it just grows back. Sometimes it splits in two and grows 2 times, 3 times. We have to cut the head off the monster if we want all of these tentacles to die. And that's the thing. Everything is there to keep you focused away from the real problem. You just spread thinner and thinner, and you're going in these directions. And if there's enough things, you're going to end up bumping heads with somebody that matters to you about one of those things or another because they've been given one narrative or, tricked into thinking not just the narrative, but if you live in this region, or if you subscribe to this Sky Daddy, or whatever it is, then you should believe this narrative. That's how they do things. And so people are stuck believing the craziest shit, believing that they can't say something. They can't do anything about it. Like, it was weird to hear the responses from Greg Gannip talking about, keyboard warrior, what are you doing? Oh, you've done so much in this world. Like, dude, what? How are you even saying that when you're one of the main reasons why I'm in the spot I'm in? You're one of the people that promised and made a whole bunch of, built up a whole narrative and then pulled the rug out. And when I said that to him, you pulled the rug out without any explanation. He's like, yeah, I'll do that. I pulled the rug out. Like, dude, why do you sound like one of them? Like, I'm trying to talk to you on a human level. That's how it is in so many different aspects. Like, everybody has been made into this weird politician where they don't answer things from a human level. They answer things from a weird perspective.
Well, always worried of judgment and perception and.
Yeah, but if you're saying the right things, you don't care about judgment and perception.
Yes, you do. A lot of people do. That's why a lot of people don't say the right things.
Well, if you're saying the right things, though, then it shouldn't matter. And especially in a simple conversation.
Everybody has your strength, sweetheart. Most people are spineless. You're not, and it's
Right.
hard to put yourself in those shoes. But think about elementary school and the different kids that would get bullied, and even if they were in the right, or the nerds that had the right answers. Think of how they were treated. All we are kids with more responsibilities. That's it.
Sure.
So,
But that's saying that, like, that's like saying I was molested as a child, so I did it to other children. Like, if you know what that pain is, how do you do it to somebody else?
because you don't want it done to you.
But
You're
you're
doing it to somebody else. It's not happening to you. Some people get so scarred by that shit at a young age that, I get it. I had a group of girlfriends when I was in elementary school. I'm talking 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And the girls were so weird. They were, rich girls. I was the oddball. And when they would get mad at one of us, all you had to do was like say one thing. And they would all, like a hive, gang up on you, would talk to you for days, ignore you, be shitty to you, like make it really obvious in front of all the other kids. And that was hurtful. And I remember they were doing it to our friend Sam in the group. And I remember Sam aside and I said, I'm really sorry. Like, this isn't right. But that, I know that's why I didn't like girls after that. I wasn't close friends with girls after that. I gravitated to the boys because they didn't.
boys do that all the time.
It was hurtful and scarring.
No, you gravitated to the boys for other reasons.
No,
I'm not saying you, but boys treated you differently. I know you don't believe it, but boys treated you the way they did because they wanted in your pants.
not at that young of an age though. I was young.
Boys don't treat you, boys are just, I literally had the same thing happen to me multiple times. Where one thing would happen. So the first time I ever got drunk, my friend Sean had this place out at 6 Mile and Ridge Road. His parents, that's where he lived. His whole life, that was like the boonies, didn't matter, nothing. But as soon as we got to driving age, his parents were in a nasty divorce. His dad was like
Shot?
Now, Sean, his dad worked in some capacity where he was like literally never there, and his mom was never home either. And then she had another house that she was moving into and all that stuff. So essentially, we had this big, this big house that wasn't nice. So you didn't have to worry about things as much. Out right on the outskirts of town where there was no parental supervision. And actually, they had a geo prism, a stick shift. And since I was the only one that knew how to drive stick shift, I was allowed to drive it. And
So weird.
like halfway through sophomore year or something, Sean ends up officially moving to his mom. He lived with his mom. So when his mom moved to the new house officially, he went there. And he ended up going to the school. Like, he lived less than a mile from his mom's new house was less than a mile from where I lived before I moved to Northville. So he ended up going to school with a bunch of people I knew and whatnot. But he was a dork. So he wasn't popular or anything. Until word got out that had this house. And so one day, so he would spend the week going to school, and then I think I would get his car, and then I can't even remember how that would work out. Either I would get dropped off at the house or I would take the bus to his house. I can't remember. But I would get his car, his dad's car, and then I would go pick him up. And, you know, we'd party for the weekend and, you know, whatever. So
That's
one,
what made him popular. That's so sad.
but see, this, as the story progresses, you'll understand. So this girl, I guess he kind of liked her from the new school. So we got to go pick her up to come party at the house for the night. He got her to come over. So we go to get her, and dude, this guy is like he's taller than me. So he's like 6'3", 6'4". He's got this giant fucking head. Weird that I knew two Seans with big ass fucking heads. But we pull up and she lived like out here or something she was out here for some reason. Out this way. So we go to pick her up, and as they go to get in the car, this big motherfucker gets in the back seat. And right there, I knew he was doomed. Right there, I knew he was fucking doomed. And she was even like, you don't have to get in the back. And he was like, no, it's fine. So he makes her sit next to me. And then he stays quiet the whole time. And he's all weird the whole time. And I remember testing the waters when I would shift into fifth gear. I would let my hand hit her leg just to see what would happen. And at one point she pointed it out like, oh, you keep touching me with your hand. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm shifting. You know, but it wasn't, you could tell something wasn't going to work in his favor. So, you know, I was a big pot smoker, but I didn't like, you know, my mom being an alcoholic and shit. I wasn't a big fan of drinking. But this is about when alcohol started getting introduced into the house. And for the previous like 6 months or so, 8 months, it was like a core, there was like a small group of us that would just sort of nothing. But like I was the one that had been there since before any of it happened. Me and Sean used to just hang out after football practice and shit. Now him and a couple other guys were friends from way back, or like we all played football, so like I would bring them to, like, I made some connections happen there. And it's crazy because those guys are like all best buddies now. Like they go to each other's weddings and godparents and all this other shit. But so that night I get fucking like absolutely hammered for the very first time in my life. I was thinking about this watching something the other day, an arrest video of this broad that was super fucking hammered. And it's weird to think that like you can get in trouble for that because you're not that person. You know, when you're super duper fucking hammered beyond the point where you expected to be, you're saying things and doing things that you would never do in real life. But this alcohol is poisoning you. This alcohol that is allowed to be and encouraged to be given to you is making you do these things. And it turns out this girl is a bit of a floozy. And she is sort of bouncing around, you know, hitting on all these guys. And there's a bunch of people there. I don't really remember a lot. I don't remember how I got super drunk. I don't remember drinking. I don't remember any of it. But he had a ranch style house and there was stables in the back where there was a horse. There used to be more horses. There was just one old ass horse. But he had like one of those big trampolines and had this huge yard and, you know, we had music and he had this hot tub. And so Pat Jett, Chris Jett's better looking brother, is in the hot tub, twin brother. And she's in the hot tub. And she somehow gets me to get in the hot tub. Now, granted, I'm a virgin. I'm drunk for the first time. I'm like in a hot tub. I'm blanking in and out of consciousness. And this girl is like grabbing my dick and she's kissing me and like literally like I don't even really realize what's happening. You know, it's not dawning on me any of it. But apparently Sean is really upset about this. And he's jumping on his trampoline and he's going up and he's coming down straight down on his head like he's trying to break his neck, and he's getting all upset and he's, you know, and he's gonna beat me up. He's gonna beat me up if somebody doesn't get me out of here. And I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm so hammered. So Chris Jett had been working, so he was really late to the party, and he shows up and they tell him that he needs to get me out of here because Sean's gonna kill himself and he's gonna beat me up and all these things. And like he sort of, I don't even remember what happened. I'm pretty sure I was ejected unceremoniously from said party. And the thing is, like, I'm one of the originals, right? We're all supposed to be buddies, bros before hoes, blah blah blah. Except I'm the one that's black. I'm the one that's not full white. And you know, all sorts of funny words are coming out at this point. Like true feelings are really showing up. And so Chris took me home, and again, I don't remember much of how any of that, but I do know that the Monday at school, I'm not allowed to sit at the lunch table anymore. Even though Sean doesn't go to the school, nobody wants word to get back to Sean, so then they're not allowed to come over anymore. And I'm not allowed to come over anymore because he liked a girl. And this is the pettiness. This is, you know, you say girls do this. This is what my group of boys did. We were all friends. We were football friends. We were this affected my life. Like I'm I'm in, this is towards the end of sophomore year. You know, it's warm outside, so it's towards the end of sophomore year. And I lose everything. My entire group. And of course, because so many of those kids are actually racist dickheads, this is their, like, they want to fight over Sean, over some dumb girl. Like, the whole thing was just so weird to me. But that's, you know, my experience with white people has consistently been that way. You know, I hate being around other dudes and either their girlfriend or a girl that they like. Because it always backfires. And it's like, I never understood that I'm not going to like a dude because a chick likes the dude instead of me. Like, what kind of weird shit is that? But that whole story was, again, because Angela said that girls are like that. Girls are catty. Girls will do these things. But it's not just girls. It's how we are as people. It's the Western way of doing things that's bled into everything. Because it doesn't really matter what thing you're talking about. You'll get the same results. You start just questioning. Like my kids, my oldest kid pretends to be at least like kind of like he doesn't express what he believes when it comes to religion, because everybody he goes to school with is either Christian or Muslim, and they're all it's like, you're not supposed to. My wife used to do this to me all the time. She would say, you know, you don't respect other people's beliefs and all these other things, and a lot of it had to do with the old lady that lived next door. She was this Christian, Catholic. Was she Catholic? No, she's Baptist, Southern Baptist. Super religious woman who was assaulted as a child and who, had all these health problems and was just this weird fucking old lady, Ginger. And we would be sitting out front and Ginger would come out, and because she was in judgment of us, she definitely didn't like that Angela was with the poor me, the poor guy who's corrupting her brain and keeping her from Jesus and all these other things. Because, Angela didn't think for herself. It was my fault that Angela didn't believe in Jesus. But we'd just be sitting out there, and Ginger would come up and be like, okay, how about this? I thought of something. And she would say, some sort of argument, one goofy thing or another. And I always looked at it like, look, if you're the big girl who wants to come talk to me about it, especially knowing who I am, what I'm capable of, that I'm not the person that's just going to be like, okay, that's cool. I'm going to engage you respectfully and say, all right, you're engaging me, I'm going to engage you. She knew that. She wasn't a surprise if I responded. But Angela would always get mad at me. I would speak to her honestly. And if you spoke to her, if you answered what she said honestly, or you turned it around in any sort of way, she would get upset. And it was like, I'm supposed to respect her belief. She doesn't respect mine. But I'm the one that's supposed to be quiet. I'm the minority. You have all of the advantage over me. You have the years of history that you could know so that maybe you could make better arguments. But you don't. You have an entire Bible that you should know, but you don't. People always say, do you think if everybody was like you, the world would be a better place? I think if everybody thought like me in this regard, in the regard of, okay, let's present the information that's available. And let's take Occam's razor ninja style and just cut everything off that doesn't fit. Everything that needs a bunch of faith, no proof. Cut. And let's apply this same philosophy where we lay out the narrative, the options, and cut away what doesn't work. And hey, you know what? Maybe option one has, 10 things that are wrong, but one thing that's right. And option two has 7 things that are wrong and 4 things that are right. Well, we don't need to do 2. Let's cut away all that negative shit. Combine the good things and make an option 3. Let's move forward. Regardless of what you're talking about, whether it's in the big picture worldview or it's in the house on, who does the dishes or, whatever. Instead of just being all stagnant and at this constant stalemate where we're just sort of butting heads with everything, why don't people admit that they're wrong about stuff? And people are, oh, you never admit you're wrong. You never admit you're... How do you think I got here? I was raised in the exact same environments you were. I was brainwashed with the same bullshit you were. At some point, while you weren't looking things up, I was. And I've gone through, a bunch of different iterations and, thought one thing, realized maybe that's not the right thing, thought another. Like, I've gone through a bunch of different things, a bunch of different options. And now I've seemingly got to a point where I can't get around it. Where there isn't something else lurking behind it where I'm just ignoring that. Because that's how it is with most things, right? You want to believe in Illuminatis or something like that. Well, there are some lingering questions that you either have to ignore, or you ask those questions, but most people just, I don't know. Hello?
Oh, is it locked?
What's up, Pim?
Okay, so we're doing Joy, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
You doing who?
Joy.
No, you gotta ask him.
Okay, but if we do, okay. I was just making sure. I thought we had to do.
No,
Alright.
ask him, yeah.
Okay. We only made $20
Okay,
because everyone else's house were already done,
okay,
or they just went home.
okay. Well, that's how that works. That's why you keep going.
Like,
Huh?
Me and Nick want to cross the entire block.
Do it.
Me and Nick already did. And
You went where?
from like past Sir Ivy's house, which is way over.
All the way
way
around.
back.
Yeah. No, go this way. People take the easy way out. I mean, to some degree, right? Like, when you're talking about religion, right, and you talk about the easy way out, the easy this, and I get it. It is much easier to put the blame on supernatural bullshit than it is to take it for yourself. But at the end of the day, according to the rules that are given, how many people are actually going to make it into heaven? How many people can honestly say they live a good Christian life, they do as they're supposed to do, they work hard, they help people, they don't take advantage of shit? How many people can say they live a biblical life? I
Don't wear cotton and silk together.
They've never been somewhere and thought, hey, that's a nice TV. We should get one of those.
They don't plant their peas next to their carrots.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know what the actual veggies are.
Right.
You know.
They're not eating animals with hooves or some shit. Who knows? Like they go to church every week. They pay their 10%. Without, they never miss it. They don't question any of it. Like, how many people do you know that actually fall into that category? Most of us are going to hell if it does exist, that's for sure. By the narrative that's given, yes. And I know people like to be like, oh, well, what I do is I'm just going to say I'm sorry.
Somebody's having fun.
Because if you like, there's a book of rules that's given so that you know them, knowingly break them, but as long as you repent for it, everything will be okay. Does that even make sense to you? I mean, seriously, how did we get to such a stupid place? You get mad at somebody for asking questions you're not smart enough to ask or answer. I mean, it just... I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm having a hard time watching Coop's videos. Coop puts out a video today about the National Guard thing being a false flag. And as much as I like Coop's... Oh, you know what? I was telling this story and I got sidetracked. So, I don't know how many of you know Nikki Matner, but Nikki Matner, back in 2015, 16, she had a Facebook page, unlike most, right? Everything she would post would get, 20,000 likes and 50,000 comments on. Like, seriously, she was getting insane fucking numbers. Remember? Nikki Matner.
Oh, yeah.
Like seriously, you would be shocked the amount of likes and comments and shares and all that shit that she would get. So, you know, I wanted to gain her favor. So the Vaxxed movie had just come out, and I wrote the song Vaxxed, and in the intro, I mentioned Nikki as like paying homage to her, and like hopefully, you know, if she's mentioned, then maybe she'll take more interest in it. And it actually worked. Imagine going to hell, but the world is like living in hell anyways. The world is not hell. The world is a beautiful, wonderful place. We're just slaves. And we're slaves that don't realize it. So we end up being tricked into thinking it's hell. I was watching a video today where Bezazel Smotrich was taken into a schoolroom and the girls are screaming like the Beatles just walked in. And it's like, how else do you violate children so willingly other than make the violators into superstars, like rock stars, so the kids are throwing themselves at the star? It makes it much easier that way, right? So back to Nikki, right? So Nikki and I actually become really pretty good friends. Like, actually, what I think is really good friends. You know, we're talking about ways that we can figure out how to, so we become friends, and then there's an eclipse one day, right? There was the big eclipse of 2016 or whatever it was. I don't know. 17, 18, I don't know. And something about the eclipse and all that, it made me want to go to Australia because of the feedback I was getting from my Australian viewers. And so Nikki was entertaining the idea of like, hey, let's get you out here. And so that was the plan, was to get me out to Australia. And once we made that plan, it was like her world sort of started crashing. Once she started sharing my stuff and she would share my live feed every day, suddenly her view count is cut in half and then cut in half again and cut in half. And like her numbers start tanking down to the point where she's getting less than 100, less than 50. You know, within a few months, she goes from 60,000 likes to maybe 60. And the only thing was, she started talking to me. And then some weird shit happens with her family. I don't quite know all the shit that happens, but she's getting threatened by government officials that her Facebook activity is affecting her life, and she gets really kind of scared about everything. But so we're still friends, we're communicating less, but we're still what I consider friends. And one day she's super excited and she's like, dude, you got to check out this video. You got to check out this video. It's and the video is about the diamond myth and how, you know, how this myth of diamonds and rarity and all that made diamonds the industry that it is today. And it's a really, really amazing video. And I watched the video, and you know me, I can't just watch it. I have to sort of look. Is that dumbass? I don't think so. No. So right.
Tell them they need to be careful.
They know. And so she so I start looking at this video. I watch the video. Immediately because of how great, to me, that always raises, when you see that the video looks like it was professionally made. I don't know, it's to me that's just strange. Like, I know how difficult shit can be. So this video is really well made, and then I notice it's been allowed. You know, you have to think, this video is supposedly exposing the diamond industry as a fraud and could potentially change the world, could cost rich friars millions and billions of dollars. And yet it's allowed to have, you know, at the time I saw it, 2 million plus views, well over 100,000 likes and shares and all this shit. And so I'm like, hey, where did this video come from? And the video was from a page called Today I Watched, or Today I Learned, or something like that. Today I Watched, I believe. And it just happened to be that channel's first fucking video. The channel was made and then put out this video, and within 48 hours had over 2 million views, and you know, just in a phenomenal growth rate, which one points to just how sick of the narrative we all are, but two, there's some interference there. There's some Jorge style interference there. And so I point that out. And everybody always gets mad at me. My cousin got mad at me. You guys remember Coney 2012? And Coney 2012 being the first time that people changed their profile pictures to show solidarity for something, supposedly. And the same thing happened with Coney 2012, where I was just like, this is weird. Why is this suddenly? I personally know how difficult it is to go viral. And this is back when I was allowed to have insane views on videos that you would think, okay, this video is you know, going like hotcakes, hundreds of shares, thousands of views. It's just going to keep going. And then it just sort of putters out. So I know how difficult that shit can be. For everybody in the United States to know about Coney 2012 and give a shit. I mean, you know, we're talking about an entire population that's known about Africans dying and being killed and enslaved for years. Now all of a sudden we give a shit? What's going on here? And I hesitated. I didn't change my profile picture. And what I always hear from people is, oh, so when you say it, it's true, but when other people say something, you just have to question it, and you know, well, you have to always be the guy that tells people things. It's like, no. But when I'm telling you something, it's because I've looked into it. I don't know if you've looked into it. I might just side with you. I just need to look into it a little more. But based on one thing, one piece of evidence, I've learned throughout my travels not to jump on board. There was that video that was going around where people were like, Buzz Aldrin admits we didn't go to the moon. He's talking to the Asian girl. The Asian girl asks him about it, and he says no. He admits we didn't go. And this video, again, one of these videos I wake up to, people are sending me left and right. It's getting shared like crazy. And what it seems like is that people are seeing the title and then sharing the video. They're not actually watching it. Because if you watch the video, you see that Neil says, she asked him, how come we didn't go back? And he's like, you know what? You're right. We didn't go. Why didn't we go? Why didn't we go back? But they cut out that last, we didn't go back. No. I don't know. No, that one's done. They're doing. Those two. You know, because I'm such a bad dad, I made my kids get up and go shovel snow this morning so they could make some money.
And help out the seniors.
I'll help out whoever wants to pay for it, but they need to have a work ethic. They need to learn. Foods you should never refrigerate. We refrigerate all those things, except for avocados. Well, we refrigerate those.
I didn't know they ripen unevenly. If you do,
I don't know.
makes me want to go take the bunch of that shit out of it. The only problem is then it ripens faster.
Well, I mean, you got to go to the store. My wife hated me forever when we first got together, especially because I was like, yeah, we just go to the store. Especially when we had a butcher shop right down the street. It's like, we don't need to buy meat well in advance. We could just go to the store. Nah, man, I gotta go to the store every day.
That sucks.
I guess if it just depends on how you look at it. Me, I like going to the store. I like people watching. I like hanging out. I like spending time outside of the house, whether it's doing something exciting or just doing something silly or whatever. If you can enjoy doing the mundane with someone, then you can enjoy the big things even more. Is at least how every day or two. We should take advantage of that. We have that ability. We can eat fresh every day, and it takes half hour. You know, if you're not buying a whole bunch of shit, it doesn't take you that long. I don't know. Just a difference of opinion, I guess. Why don't you cut your hair? Because I'm old, and I'm sure if I cut it off, it'll never grow back. But I also...
I love your hair.
Yeah, you don't.
I do. I love your long hair.
Mm-hmm. That's why you never play with it.
I don't have to play with it to like it.
Yes, you do. That's part of it. Mm-hmm. But the whole, to me, I've done an experiment, right? So I believe your hair has a length.
Can you hand me the ashtray?
And that if you let your hair grow, it will grow to a certain length. It won't just grow continuously. At some point, your hair, the ends split, and it stops growing. And I think that it's an extension of our bodies. And I go back to Native American wind talker, whatever it was, it was proven. Like it's not a theory, right? So in the war, whichever war it was, World War I or whatever.
No, was that the American Indian War or whatever?
No. It was the World War I. The natives were known for their amazing tracking abilities because of the previous bullshit, right? And so the Allies, the Americans, wanted to take advantage of that. And they wanted to use the natives for their tracking abilities to crack the codes and get the Germans and, whatever the bullshit is.
Nazis.
Find them bad guys.
Damn communists.
And so they would go find the native that was said to have the best tracking ability, bring him in, make him a good soldier, cut his hair, and send him out. And time again, they would protest, but because of regulation, they would cut the hair. And almost as miraculous as their abilities were, they would lose them almost immediately. And they couldn't figure out why. And the natives would be like, it's because you keep cutting our hair. And so they did these experiments to see. And really, I don't even need science to tell me it, right? If you just think of yourself as a conduit of energy, and where that, the energy comes from our feet and out of our heads. We're what's that thing called? That shape called with the cones on both sides? The energy flows through it. It's the same thing. The Earth. When they show you the Earth and the poles and how the radiation comes, it's the same thing. We're the same thing. Well, if at the top of your head you have thousands, million, can't probably have thousands. I don't know how many hairs how many hairs on the average human head?
You tell him to do steps. I don't want her to slip and fall.
No. She's not going to do it. Jimmy will. Jimmy's home.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. 80,000 to 150,000 antenna on your head. And each one of those antenna, at the end of it, splits and makes two. So it doubles your antenna. Of course, you've been trained to think, oh, split ends are so bad. Split ends are so bad. So you cut them off. Your hair grows a little bit more, and then it splits. Then you cut them off, and that's what happens. You're trained to get rid of the goodness. You have all these antennae that are out on your head, collecting the ions, collecting the energy that's in the world. And the fact that you have split ends, that each one is two, means it's going to collect more. And like I say, your hair grows to a certain point. My hair has not grown very much in a long time. It's been about this. I mean, it looks long.
Never had it trimmed since you've grown it.
That's what I just got done saying, you bonehead. Because I don't get it trimmed, because I don't trim off the split ends that are there collecting, that are doing their job. My hair has grown to its length. I never had the hair trim. I never got the split ends trimmed off my head. It grew to the length it wanted to be, and then it basically stopped. It grows, but it grows very, very slowly now. And I think that's what happens with most people. I think, if you were to grow your hair out and you brushed it or whatever, but you didn't fuck with it, you didn't cut it, you'd get to a certain length and then it would stop. If it didn't, it would be down past your ass and shit. All getting in your wipes. Ugh. That'd be so gross. Imagine you accidentally wipe yourself with your hair. But again, this is just my crazy conspiracy theory that's backed up by military research that I'm just coming up with this on my own. Right? I'm just coming up with this all on my own. And what I'm saying sounds absolutely crazy, doesn't it? I sound like a lunatic. Right? You should cut your hair. Cut your hair, men. Men don't have long hair. Why don't we have long hair? Why, at the same time, did so many people in the truther community sort of get that mental message to grow your hair out? Why did we all do that? If I wasn't so old, I might cut it off and try again, but I know it won't grow back. What's up, yo? What are you doing? Keep going. Not down that way. You went all the way down the whole street that way. Yeah, go do that street. Yes. Okay, so it won't take you that long, but you might snag a couple. Go give it a shot. No, do it now. I'm gonna have to go kick him in the face.
Will you, go ahead, go kick.
Hey, go up and down this next street, and that's it. If you can't find any more, then you're done.
You said you would come in.
No, I didn't. I said do the whole thing. And you got to do ours. But yeah, go do the next block because you're gonna get a couple. Yes, you will. Huh? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking about it. She said, oh, really? So then I said, yo, she said, how much you guys charge? I said, we're charging 20 because we don't know how people are out or they're on system. She said, she looked around and said, well, I give you 30 if you do it tomorrow. So when next time it snows, I said, okay.
Okay, cool. Go do the next block. I guarantee you get at least 2. At least. Cold as fuck out there. Proud of those boys out there kicking their ass.
Damn, that car hits him so nice. When you had that window open, I was looking out here, or the door open, and my hair all got stuck to the screen like that. It was such a vacuum. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's cold out there.
Yeah, it is.
It's good for them. This teaches them business sense. This teaches them hard work.
Oh, Nick looks so enthused. He's very enthusiastic about the whole thing.
Well, he's gonna have money in his pocket. He's gonna be able to do
he'll
what he
be
wants to
happy.
do.
Hindsight.
But yeah, that's my thought process on the hair thing. I don't know, man.
I think it looks good on most guys. There's quite a few, though, that long hair does not suit them. And
Yeah, but
clearly,
you don't know that.
They're not supposed to be the trackers of society. They're not supposed to be the heroes of medicine men. They're supposed to be the workers. Okay.
But you also don't know that. You don't know if they got their hair cut, if they would look better. You only see them and you just think, wow, they're kind of ugly. So they might just be ugly. I think if I was one of those guys where, like, if I was losing it any more than I am,
If
like
he had-
this.
He could not do long hair next door. He could not do long hair next door.
No, he would look goofy. But he just, because
There's
he,
some guys that are
but
just not
because he
suited.
looks like a fucking goof anyway. He couldn't, it's not like him having short hair is going to make him look better.
Yeah, better than long hair.
No, he just looks awful. He's just an awful looking person. But if I was like struggling to maintain it, if it was literally like any more, if it was like up this high, I wouldn't have it anymore.
No.
Like,
It's time.
I'm tall enough that for the most part, most people can't see this little bit missing anyway. So if I just walk like this, my head held high, how you gonna know?
The illusion is you cannot see it.
Right.
We could always get the spray hair. Too.
I have some.
No, you don't. No, you don't. We would have played with that way much.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be gone.
I'd be spraying it on my
Let's
kid's
spray-
face while they were
Let's spray a
sleeping.
beard on Mom. Let's see what she'd look like with a full beard.
It's like your forehead kept growing. Yep. Oh man, look at my giant forehead. Oh, my feelings are hurt so much. I guarantee the person talking to me looks like a foot, if they're even real. Chances are they're Israeli, so, you know. Who knows what they look like?
Foot-esque.
Just such doofuses, man. Such doofuses. You think they're gonna walk all the way down? How far do you think they're gonna actually go, and then come home
We
and
gotta
be
walk
like,
slower because we gotta let Dad think that we went to all the houses.
right?
You were a kid.
I know.
No, Nate, you can't go that fast. Dad, no.
Or if they get like 2 in a row, they'll be like, shh, he said we'd get 2, so we could say we got 2. Because they don't want money enough yet.
I'm sorry. If we didn't have kids, I wouldn't be paying anybody melts. Or paying
Well, no, you have to because of the male people and the liability aspects
I
of
could go
things.
use a broom and make a path for the male person.
Shoveling snow isn't difficult.
Oh no, it is.
No, it's not. Shoveling snow is easy. You just gotta
It is
use your fucking brain.
extremely difficult on your heart. You don't realize it. That's why
If
so
you
many
work hard, it is. If you're not working hard and you're working smart, it's not. And you use leverage and you don't exert yourself. Yeah, of course. If friars belong in Palestine, why is so many of them white-skinned gingers? Well, if they belong there, why would they deny DNA? Like latest DNA survey said, 95% of them don't have Semitic blood. They're from Ukraine. They're from them Crane. They're from Europe. They're from the United States. They're from Russia. But it's you know it just doesn't even matter. Like it's all based in some fairy tale craziness, and that fairy tale craziness is not just about the Palestinians. Like you don't say free Palestine to the Lebanese who are being attacked by Israel, daily. People need to realize we're all in danger by this one cult. And the fact is, they have you so. Like, why wouldn't they control your faith, your foundation? Why wouldn't they have controlled that? I don't think people understand how stupid that is. I was watching this video today where this girl was like, you know, and this guy was saying that Jesus was a Jew, and blah, blah, and like she's laying it out there, and then going, but I don't believe that, and no, it's like, do you not even understand? Have you not given it thought as to why you actually believe in something that literally provides you no evidence? Like people believe in Jesus like they met him. And people are just no, he lives right. You could go meet him if you wanted to. Like that's how people act. But the reality is, you don't know anything about that motherfucker. The only thing you know is what you've been told by them in their fairy tale book that they gave you to control you, to tell you be happy with what you have, don't want more, and understand that you're not even God's chosen people. We are. I mean, it's like it's such a strange thing, and it's such a conversation ender. If you ask somebody why they are Christian, well, let me ask you this: why are you Christian and not Muslim? Well, because the Bible's no. Why do you think the Bible's the truth and not the Quran? The Bible was commissioned in 1611.
The Muslims don't believe in Jesus. That's
Yeah, they
why.
do. But they do. The Bible was commissioned in 1611 by King James, who was a tyrant, and it was a collection of a bunch of different manuscripts. And the earliest manuscripts at the time dated back to around 900 or so, at least from what the narrative is. And there wasn't anything earlier than that until the 780 or the 1940s, just before Israel creation, when they happened to find the Dead Sea Scrolls that again aren't Christian. They're Jewish. They're of a Jewish group in supposedly in 70 AD that talks about some of that shit. But it's more Jewish than anything else. And of course it's fake as shit. It doesn't exist. Like it's just dumb fake bullshit that they just planted in and presented with. But comparatively, every single Quran ever found says the exact same thing. There's no iterations, there's no changes, there's no nothing. It's the exact same narrative every single time, in every language, every translation, everything that's ever found. It's always the same Quran. What makes you think the Bible is the truth compared to that story? And what do they say? Well, the Bible, again, they just can't get, like my wife plays devil's advocate all the time. And it's amazing how...
I've heard all the answers.
But the answers are always within this very narrow scope.
Because it boils down to you have to have faith.
Exactly. Did they
All
find the
comes
scrolls
down
or make them? They made them. So they find the first of the Dead Sea Scrolls, the first two, I believe, in 1946. And then they lose the fucking cave. They lose it. They forget where it is. The cave is actually only like 150 meters away from a settlement. And the cave is there's like a dried up lake bed, and the cave system is a round lake bed. So the idea that for the next 2 years they lost it, and then they happened to find it after they started taking over everything. Like it's clearly they tested the waters with this one thing. They saw the response. So then they had to use the next 2 years to create, authentic looking documents that they could find some more of. And most of it is just fragments and shit like that. But it's all friar fairy tale bullshit. All of it. It all is. That's again why they're called the Abrahamic religions. They don't hide it. It's right in your face. Seriously, Christians, are you Christian God's chosen people? And according to the Bible, if you're not the chosen people, what are you?
Servants.
Slaves. Yeah. You can be mad at me all you want for me knowing the shit, but why don't you know this? I'm not misinterpreting anything.
Because they don't want to hear it, because they don't choose to believe it.
Right.
'Cause that
You
can't
pick
be
and
true.
choose which parts you have faith in.
Because it can't be true.
That's
not what God meant.
That's what the fucking book says.
Yeah, well.
That's when your arrogance comes in, right? Because your arrogance is you saying, well, I can discern which parts are meant to be interpreted and which parts are meant to be taken literally. And everybody does that. People always say, oh, this is the word of God. Well, what about this part? Well, that's obviously a metaphor. How do you know? Who are you to decide which things are metaphors and which things are to be taken seriously? That happened. No, that virgin got pregnant. Crazy. She told her husband, God's baby. And he was like, oh, okay. How come we still haven't done it?
Right.
We're married, right? Shouldn't we be doing it? And aren't you a prostitute?
Back in the day, that's how they consummated their marriage.
Well, that was the point. You got married off at 13, 14 years old so that you could start making new fucking workers. At least, again, this is the narrative we're given.
And in a lot of cultures way back then, they would have, like, consummation
Ritual. Hell yeah.
Where the whole family would be there. And would carry them off or parade them to the bedroom. The door would close, and the family would wait until the couple emerged, united.
Disgusting.
Couple.
Disgusting.
And then they would feast.
Disgusting.
So,
Can you imagine that pressure? Right.
But, so the thought that How long were they married before she had Jesus? Were they married a long time? Did they just get married 2 days before?
Let's see.
And she had the flu, so she couldn't do it the first 2 nights?
How old was Mary when she had Jesus? She was between 15 and 16.
So how long?
Why doesn't that ever come up? That even God's going in the pedo department. That's fucking gross.
How long were you?
Oh my God. Have
How
you
long
ever
were they
seen a
married?
pregnant 15-year-old? You know what they look like? A pregnant 15-year-old. You don't go, look at that woman. You go, holy shit, that little girl's pregnant.
How long were they married? Does it say that? Do we have that answer? Joseph and Mary married before.
How long were Mary and Joseph married? The exact length of Mary and Joseph's marriage is not known, but they were married until Joseph's death, which occurred sometime after Jesus was 12 and before the crucifixion. The duration was at least 13 years and possibly up to 33 years, depending on the approximate age of Jesus when Joseph died, before Jesus was born. The exact time and length they married before is unknown, but they were considered married at the time of Jesus' conception. According to Jewish tradition, the betrothal, or the betrothal period, could last anywhere from a few months up to a year before the couple began living together. Therefore, they were likely married for some period, but the specific duration is not specified in the Bible. The betrothal period, the Bible states that Mary and Joseph were betrothed or espoused, which was a legal and binding marriage contract, even though they had not yet begun living together. So that's the Jewish dowry kind of bullshit that they're obviously, again, these characters are not Christians. These characters are Jews.
Right.
And,
So
they were
really,
adults at 13.
They weren't really married in the sense that we know to be marriage. They were just betrothed.
Ooh, but it doesn't say how long they were living together. The Bible does not provide a specific date or time when they were married, so any answer is an educated estimate based on historical and cultural practices. She was 15 when she was pregnant. 15 or 16, like either matter. I mean, I guess by today's standards, she'd be legal. How old was Joseph? How old was Joseph when Jesus was born? Oh my God. The Bible does not state exact age when Jesus was born, but scholars speculate he was likely in his late 20s or 30s.
Yep.
Guys.
Joseph was a pedophile.
Guys. So
Jesus' stepdaddy was
literally
a pedophile.
every single one of you fucking Christians that come on here talking about Muhammad and his pedophile, the pedophile nature of the fucking Quran, which is appalling, no doubt about it. I guarantee none of you know this.
It's in all the religious books.
So Joseph in his late 20s or 30s, probably in his 30s, that's why it's or.
Yeah.
Right? If 30s wasn't in the equation, it wouldn't be mentioned. In his 30s, took himself a 14-year-old bride? 14, 15-year-old bride?
She could have been betrothed to him at what, 6?
Yeah, she could have been betrothed at any point.
Just not living with him.
But they were living together when Jesus was born.
So she was 14, 15, 15.
Yeah, 15 or 16 when Jesus was born.
Yeah.
So she why don't you guys talk about this shit? Muhammad is great. Allah is the greatest. Fuck Allah, fuck Muhammad, fuck all of you. That's bullshit.
God, Joseph Smith.
All of it. It's all. You notice how it's all the same fucking story?
And they're all pedophiles.
They're all pedos. It's all fucking gross. It's all the chosen are the best. When do you wake up to that shit? What proof do you have that Allah and Muhammad and all that is real? Give me some fucking proof. Give me one proof. Just give me one proof. Come on, you're saying a bunch of shit. Love you with all my heart. Muhammad is great. You look great today. Blah, 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 blah. Answer the one question. Was 14 the cultural norm at the time or something? It's always been with them. Why do you think they become adults at 13? It's something that just doesn't get talked about nearly enough because again, nothing of theirs does. But they're considered adults at 13 in their culture, in their cult.
Men. Today you
Who do you
become a
think?
man.
Who do you think that benefits? You think it's because they're just putting together all their 13-year-olds? No. It's for all the fucking adults who like fucking with children who don't want to feel guilty. Yep. See, now you ask a Muslim a straight up question, right? Come on, man. Let's be adults here. Why do you believe that that's true? What evidence do you have? Give me one proof of your thing. Just give me one proof. You've been here multiple times now saying the same dumb nonsense. I'm asking for one piece of proof from you, and you come with your alhamdulillah, may Allah be in your heart bullshit. That's how immature. That's how, stupid. Like if you ask somebody, hey, sweetheart, what do you want for dinner tonight? I'm thinking of making either chicken or beef. Which one do you want? And she was like, alhamdulillah, may Allah be in your heart. I'd punch her in her face. Be like, answer the fucking question. What's wrong with you?
Pink.
Right. Like, why would you answer just nonsense? No, what do you want to eat?
I love lamb.
Do you really love lamp, or are you just looking around for things that you're saying you love them?
I love bomb.
Like, it's so
I
stupid.
love cat.
How come you can't answer simple questions? Working class only lived till about 30. Well, which would make sense, right?
Well, but
I
that's
could
not
totally.
true.
Yeah, right. I was going to say that's not true.
Moses was well over 30, guys.
Well, and biblical people are into the
All
hundreds.
old.
Yeah, hundreds. Which is weird too because they still aged normally up until like 90. And then what, do they just keep getting older?
Well, not only that, but like
If you're like typical 90-year-old old, what are you at? You would just be a decrepit
dust.
piss, like you'd just be shitting on yourself. And
But women had babies into their 30s back then. Like I had stories of gray eyes mom.
no, we're talking biblical times.
But like
Well, actually, that's probably accurate, though, right?
But the point is, like, we're told one thing, but then when I hear family stories,
Right.
it completely contradicts what society has taught us.
And you look at the history and you actually look into the history, like how you were taught George Washington had wooden teeth, and then history is like, come on, that's stupid.
When we went to the Clarenceville Cemetery and cleaned up all the grave sites of the 1800s graves and shit, I was doing the math. Those people weren't in their 20s.
No. Oh yeah, none of them. No.
They weren't in their 30s.
No.
Like
80s,
they were grandparents and shit.
80s.
So
90s. I saw that at the Redford Cemetery.
what we're taught is not the reality that I have seen.
But the narrative that we're taught fits, because you think to yourself, how could anybody believe in such dumb nonsense? And you say, oh well, they lived awful lives. They were completely uneducated. They traveled within a very small circle, and the only time they actually left their homestead was to go to church on Sundays, which they were required to, and then they were scared into the fire and brimstone. And so these uneducated people who were told that the king is their key to salvation, the king is the direct descendant of God and Jesus and all that shit. Literally, it's not like you have movies. It's not like you have access to books. It's not like, the only thing you have are oral stories. And then you go every Sunday and you see this guy in this costume and he's giving this fiery sermon and all these other things. And you can see, like, look, the king obviously lives really fucking well compared to us in our little thatch roof fucking mud hut. And you farm so that half of your shit is taken for the king every year. You barely get by and you die in your 30s. Well, I can totally see how anybody that grew it that existed in that situation could be tricked into believing that, hey, yeah, I know this sucks, but when you die, it gets really awesome. I can see how they could be fooled into believing it. And I think that's part of the narrative into tricking us into believing the religious aspect is true, because how could so many people, if they were so capable of building the Palace of Versailles and the cathedrals of the world and the aqueducts and the water systems and just all of the things that actually exist, the star forts and all that, how could they possibly be dumb enough to believe in the friar,
So much I can't see her.
the friar? But ask yourself, like seriously, this guy comes in here daily talking about his Muslim bullshit, pushing his narrative, right? It's not like anybody's asking him about it. He's choosing to come here and express himself. And then when you ask him about it, he goes, well, it's not my job to tell you that stuff. So your job is to just come out here and look stupid? Look like somebody who doesn't actually know anything? Church was the dominant avenue for mind control before TV. Yes, for sure, but I'm getting to this point in my life where I'm just wondering, like what we're told about, the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, these time frames we're told about. What was going on? The oldest pictures you can find of any sort of, any of the oldest pictures you can find in New York City, they don't show like a little hillside homestead farm thing. They show a fucking city. They show skyscrapers. They show empty cities. The Tartarian narrative, as much as I believe it to be one of the best distractions they've ever given us, the reason why it's the best distraction is because it's true. It's because everything you end up looking into just furthers your belief that it's true. You don't go looking up old world buildings and find a real detailed history that doesn't include a fire story and all this other shit. You don't find stories that make sense. You find Empire State Buildings built in 1931, 400 stories, or I don't remember how many stories. The Empire State Building built in 1931, 400 days. Just under 400 days. To me, the Pentagon is the craziest narrative that no one fucking talks about. Why doesn't anybody talk about the Pentagon? By the way, if you're watching, like, share, and sub. I appreciate those that are, but it's supposed to help. I mean, I have 8 likes and 10 viewers. It's kind of weird, but help, share, do what you can. Take 2 seconds to share it on Facebook. And if you need to, right, this guy's crazy, come tell him he's crazy. Whatever you have to do. But help, please. Back to it. The Pentagon being the craziest narrative no one talks about. I don't understand it. Well, I guess I do, because, how does My Lunch Break have such a huge feed if he's telling secrets they don't want told? How does Lucius Aurelian have such a big feed? Producing, high quality fucking documentary films every day or two, if they didn't want that to be what it was. But the Pentagon, the Pentagon being the sort of headquarters of all of that controlled opposition bullshit, I guess it's not too surprising that none of them bring attention to it. Because the Pentagon is honestly one of the craziest stories we're given. Clearly, it's not the most elaborate building in the world or anything, but it is a lot more decorative than you initially think it is. There's a lot more pillars and unnecessary beauty on this thing that you wouldn't expect. And it's a lot bigger than you expect it to be, than you think it is. But when you look into it and you hear this narrative that says from September 11th, that's not only when the final plans were that when the permits were signed and it was finally like all the red tape was gone through. They signed the final contracts the same day that they broke ground. September 11th, 1941, which just happened to be 60 years, not 59, not 61. This 60-year anniversary was the attacks. The attacks hit that one section. Here they come. And it took them a year plus to rebuild that one section. In 1941, starting in September, so going into the winter and finishing in January of 43, so roughly 14 months later, they built the entire Pentagon. All 5 stories above ground and 2 stories below ground. All of it built in 14 months, or 14 and a half to 15 months if you include all of the planning, permits, all the legislation, all that shit. Actually, the spot was selected on September 2nd. So 9 days before they broke ground is when they actually selected the location for the Pentagon. Because that makes sense, right? That's how construction works. Here, I'm gonna go talk for a minute.
The boys want to get me this for Christmas. The book came out.
Whatever.
If y'all don't know Felix and Willow, you should. They are it's a lady that lives in England. Felix is the black and white tuxedo. Willow is the calico. And she does the tales of each of them individually and then them together. And she is just a brilliant storyteller. She has me in stitches every single day when I read them. And everybody's been begging her to put all the stories together in a compilation book, and she finally did. And it just came out, and it's only $10.25 on paperback, which is amazing. And the boys, I read the stories to them all the time, and they're like, Mom, and I told them about, she's coming out with a book. They said, Mom, we want to get you that for Christmas. Well, I just found it. It's for sale. And I had to share because hilarious. If you're an animal lover and you appreciate funny stories and you're good at visualizing what the author is brilliantly describing, I guarantee you will be in tears through several of those stories. It's a nice break to this heavy, heavy world we're in right now. Laughter fixes so much.
I'm not going to.
It's the best medicine. Right, sweetheart?
What?
Laughter is the best medicine.
No. Progress.
For the soul, I think laughing.
Progress. Getting better. Moving forward. Fixing the problems. Those guys were so fucking poopy about it. And now they're both walking around like $40 each, $40 each. They made $80.
It's amazing.
It's awesome.
Mary Jo was happy.
Give him $40.
Mary Jo gave him $40.
Yeah. She's awesome. She's encouraging them.
She loves them. She employed them 2 months ago.
Right.
Yeah,
In your fanny?
it's in that corner under the coats, baby. Don't make a mess.
We made 80.
You're amazing. Great job.
So this is about Illuminati. No. No. No, we don't. We don't waste time talking about the Illuminati. The thing that they want us to talk about. The thing that they make movies and shit about. You know, that super secret thing that they make movies about. Come on, wake up. You know, you're finding breadcrumbs in the bread factory and being like, look, breadcrumbs. They put them out there for you. For those that are wondering, I made my kids get up this morning. We had a snowstorm last night. And what they're going to pass on to their kids is that when snow is happening, that's money falling from the sky. So get up, get out there.
Get that money.
Go get that money.
Because, you know, a lot of times people are dumb enough to have you shovel the driveway when you know damn well by 2 o'clock it's going to melt. So get out and do it in the morning before that shit has
Or
a chance
when
to
before
melt.
somebody else gets out there
Or
and gets
somebody
that
else.
money.
Yeah. Well, nowadays it's
There's-
not as prevalent.
It is. There's still people doing it.
Yeah,
But
there
the
used to be.
but and the thing is they've now established themselves. So
Yeah.
they got another couple customers that are like, "Oh, we didn't know you'd do it. So next time it snows, we'll expect you to be down here." And that's money. And not only is it money, it feels good. You're out there earning for yourself.
Well, and then once you start, you know, then you realize, oh, the better job I do, the more people I'll get. So then they start paying more attention to detail and start making it even better. And, you know,
Yeah. It's
a whole evolution.
It's, you know, especially considering 99% of the parents out there aren't doing the same thing. They're not making their kids stop playing video games to go develop a work ethic. I don't care about the money. You know, it's developing the work ethic. It's that pride, that feeling that they have right now is what it's about more than anything. You know, and they can buy what the fuck they want to buy because they did it. You know, they've done a great job of. It's, you know, it's weird because I say softening us.
Eat your oranges and bananas.
Yeah, finish your lunch. Nate, come on, man. Stop being a butthead.
You each have a TV.
We know what you're doing, but stop.
Get your space. They've been. So now.
Go down there. You go deal with it.
My back really hurts. Smushed.
I'd offer a back rub, but if I offer back rubs, I want sex. So I don't do that anymore.
Boys, hey, so you guys spent quite a bit of time together. You guys did great.
But the idea of them softening us, I do believe in them softening us, but I am very much against toxic masculinity.
Just kind of decompress.
And there's that whatever podcast. I wish I could go on that because I think those guys are dumb. Like, toxic masculinity is a huge problem. Guys thinking that because they like a girl, the girl should like them. Because they spent money on the girl should give them something in return.
Dad, do you want to go to the gas station?
Not right now.
Yeah, when I'm done, we can.
If you want, pickle. Do you want frozen mocha? Okay, don't go to
But
bed.
you know he wants his shit, sweetheart.
I'll just take one. Well, I can drink that in my.
Okay, but I don't want you drinking that stuff all the time. I'm trying to keep you away from the soda.
But like I'm nothing is right so far. Nothing has been right. There's if something had been right, we'd do it. We don't, you know, we wouldn't have evolved past it. But you know, the if you believe that somebody
Looks like a
can
man.
quote take away your man card, you're an idiot. You can't let anybody else define what a man is for you. You know, you have a dick, right? Like, you know, just because you don't work on cars, just because you don't want to look at Hustler magazine where some girl has her pussy spread apart and you're,
Gross.
it's all disgusting. That's gross. And I know there's lots of guys that were like me growing up in that environment and thinking, am I wrong here? Is something wrong with me because I don't fit that mold? You have a calendar in your garage of hot chicks in bikinis leaning up against cars. Your wife parks there too. But that's your garage because your garage is you have a man cave. The fuck would what? What? Like why are we these things? How did we get to be this dumb? When you look at all the different guys throughout history that sort of defined manliness for any period of time, usually they're either gay guys like like James Dean, or they're you know they're friars. They're all friars. They're all goofy, nerdy friars, Fonzie type people. You know, Fonzie defined cool so much so that the 50s had its revival period, and that lasted actually a much longer time than a lot of things do. Where the 50s came back and people started dressing like greasers and you know, and listening to the music and going to the dances and shit like that lasted for a long time. That was like a really strong subculture when I was still in high school. Developed into like ska and shit like that. But you know, Fonzie, like if you actually knew that guy in real life, even if you just look at what Fonzie supposedly represented, if that's not the friar fantasy of what a cool guy is, like Fonzie was a fucking idiot. Fonzie was a dick. He was a bully. He was always threatening to beat people up with his magic powers because he could turn on shit by hitting certain parts of the wall. Like he would snap his fingers at girls and they would just swoon over him. And then there was one episode where Richie got a look at Fonzie's special preparation list that he did before he went out on dates. And it was like 100 things long. You know, like he's a chick. It was so silly. The goofy rituals he supposedly went through before every date. But that's a real man right there. You know, because he was disrespectful to women. What's up, Karen? I know when my wife and I first got together, we had this big dinner with all of the family, with my family. My dad and stepmom were there, and her mom and dad were there, and stepdad were there, and her godparents were there. And we you know, we had a big table, and Ange made this big roast, and we had this great time. We had a big meal. It was a great time. And after we got done eating, I'm clearing the table. I'm taking plates away. And her very, 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 very stereotypical, not the guy to fuck with Greek godfather, and her stepdad were like, "What are you doing?" It's like I'm getting the dishes off the table, and they were like, "That's women's work. What are you doing?" And I just sort of laughed at them and took the dishes in anyway, because I just can't. Like, I don't understand that mentality. That disrespectful sort of mentality that is beneath me. Now, I do get, like, like if we needed firewood, and I was like, all right, sweetheart, go out there and chop the fucking wood. She just look at me like I was fucking spiders crawling out of my face and shit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What are you talking about? I'm not going out there to chop any fucking wood. Are you crazy? My wife told me when I first got with her that I don't cut the grass. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, I don't cut the grass. And I was like, well, who does it? And she was like, somebody will, but I'm not doing it. And it's, so it's weird because there's that stuff where like she thinks that's dude's work. But, I just, nothing's woman's work. Of course, if there's some puke or something, that's her job. That's not woman's job. That's just her job. Because she's better at it than I am.
No, I just gag less than you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not better.
You're better at it than I am. You have much more practice not gagging than I do. But I don't know.
Oh shit, I gotta go to this.
Are you like, if you're a dude who lives on his own, what do you do? When it's woman's work, then what do you do? I mean, I know when I was single, girls would clean my house. But it was just, that was just what they wanted to do. So who am I to be like, take that away from you? Come on, I know you want to do it, so go ahead.
Well, I mean, I imagine if it was that clean to begin with, they would not have that urge to clean.
My house was never that fucking bad. It was cleaned enough. And I came out of my mom's house, so I had a vacuum. Why would I have a vacuum if I wasn't going to use it?
Bad guy.
We play to our strengths. We should. Dysfunction gets in the way a lot. There'll be weird things that will happen for no reason. For reasons, but those reasons are buried deep and nobody, usually the person that's doing it isn't going to be willing to look at what that's about. Mm-hmm. But I think we're trained to be so broken. I mean, really, think about it. The vast majority of the world believes in one version of Sky Daddy or another that literally constantly lets them down. Occasionally they'll pray about something that will happen to work out because that's just how things do. And, because they literally don't have any sort of, like, that's the best that they're going to get, is that this thing just happened to work out the way that you want it to work out, the way that you put in effort to make it work. You went to the job interview, you wowed the interviewer. There were other people that were being interviewed, but they liked you the best because of your presentation. And you're going to be like, no, I prayed about it and God delivered. And it's just so, it's out of desperation that you do shit like that. Because you literally have nothing else to do that with. I challenge any religious person to quit their job, stay at home, and fucking pray all goddamn day and night that food shows up every single day for you. That manna, that you can wake up and harvest some manna every fucking day. Only lasts 24 hours though. Unless it's on the Sabbath, then it lasts 48 hours. And that all bills will just get paid. You won't get evicted. All that other shit. I'd love to see somebody do that. Prove me wrong. The issue would be like I'm surprised nobody's actually done this yet. But if you were smart, you do that and go live and present it as, I'm here to prove that God delivers, and I want to show the world that God delivers. So I'm going to pray that that God delivers. And because so many Christians so desperate to prove that their bullshit is real, like they'll send you food, they'll Uber you food, they'll pay your shit just so they can Shouldn't this go downstairs?
You're dead. I still been doing this one. Hey, Dad. What's that?
Hey, monkey butt monkey.
Hey, Dad.
Nate's uniform.
Back cat. Look. Come back in here.
There.
Back cat.
Get him down, man.
Hand that to him.
Here.
I'm not. No, Dad. That's gross.
Yeah, you have to. It's not gross. Finish it.
They're all dried up.
They're not all dried up. Get down, dude.
Fine. So
Nate, did you do the litter yet?
Nope.
So do it now. I know. You should have done it this morning. Remember, you were supposed to first thing. Oy. I think I think that might work. Like, it depends. You might actually accidentally become one of those goofy gurus like Blatzo, who stares at people with his gaze, and his gaze is known to heal and all this other insane shit. Look up Blatzo. You'll be fucking shocked. But you might be able to become that. You might be able to become the next guru who continues to get their shit provided for them. I think that could only happen to like one, maybe two people. Most of you people would start calling you out, especially when people started reporting seeing you out spending money and shit. But, like, we all know that's just not fucking true. God won't provide for you. It just doesn't work that way. And really, God only works in, like people will say things like, God is why they caught the touchdown pass. But then you go, really? God is making you catch a touchdown pass. How come God doesn't help the Palestinian children, the Christian Palestinian children that worship him? Well, God doesn't do that. Come on. It's like, what are you talking about? You just said he scored a touchdown for you. How come, let me ask every single Christian out there, how come Jesus, God, doesn't appear to Netanyahu and tell him to stop what he's doing? And if that's the case, how come Christians aren't praying that that's what happens? All the Christians in the world get together on Pray for Jesus Day, and they all combine their magic powers. They don't pray for anything selfish that one day, and they all just pray that God shows himself to Netanyahu and tells him to evacuate Israel, let the Palestinians have their land back, move to the Russia place, what's it called? Other than Israel, what Jewish country exists? No. There are no other sovereign countries. Yes, there is. The Jewish Autonomous Oblast. There is a federal subject of Russia located in the far east of the country. It was established by the Soviet government in 1934 as a territory where Jews could retain their cultural identity within the socialist framework using Yiddish as a recognized minority language. However, the Jewish population in the JAO has always been a minority and has significantly declined over time according to the 2021 Russian census. Ethnic Jews make up less than 1% of the population. But they have their own place set aside for them that they wouldn't have to oppress anybody. It's actually a lot bigger than Israel is. So how come Jesus doesn't appear to Netanyahu and tell him to take his people to the Jewish Oblast, so whatever it is, the JOA, the Jewish Autonomous Oblast? I'm calling on Christians for a day of that. Let's make that happen, right? You'd think Christians would be all about that, right? You'd be all about the opportunity to show that your God is not a fucking fairy tale. Right? Your God is not just some bullshit. It's actually real. You're all going to unify and pray for the same thing on the same day, which in turn will end this suffering. Because I would imagine not even Netanyahu would be able to resist God showing up, Jesus Yahweh, whoever it is, showing up and being like, stop doing this. This is terrible. Anyway. It's all the same shit, right? It's all the same shit. I gotta go. I got something to do. Just got inspired. So, go check out the description. All the links in the description are receipts to everything. Along with a link to the free download. www.the-builder-group.com. It's free. It'll ask you how much you want to pay. You click 0 and it's free. Silent counseling. Becoming really quite big, apparently. I don't know what that is. But go check everything out. Go learn something. Go better yourself. Fight the power. And you pedophiles. More than anything, you pedophiles, you kill yourself.